Hello and welcome back to Thursday's vlog. I'm going to quickly run through, I'm going to do a few little jobs with you. Just basic stuff, it's about as much as I can manage on camera. What we've got in today, we'll have a brief walk round and I'll show you. We're sitting Picasso, Grand Picasso in, lovely spec this one, in for oil and filter change and rear brake pads, but there's a lot more to that, I'll show you on the computer. Got the little Corsa in, that was MOT, we should be going for later, needs a couple of tyres on, had an oil and filter change and we're waiting for a track rod end, which we're waiting for to be delivered. Seems to be a shortage at the minute of getting parts nowadays, even for one of these Corsas, we're having problems getting the parts. I'll have a quick walk round it, it's nothing flash. Corsa Sting, I think they call it. It's got, believe it or not, they've now got the heated windscreens in like the Fords did years ago. But it's got all the luxuries of like heated windscreens and cruise control, this car. But for a 64 plate car, it doesn't even have air conditioning, which I find very unusual, how it's got a heated windscreen, cruise control, but no aircon. Bit of an odd one. But anyways, so that's what this is in for. It's going to have to go back on the lift. All the service has been done. It's going to go away and get the tyres done now. And the track rod end will be done probably later on this morning. And we've got this Toyota Aris coming in, which I'll show you. But while that one gets lined up on the lift, I shall show you what I'm doing on the Citroen when I'm out the sun. So, oil and filter change on these. Absolute pain in the hoop because they bury the oil filter down there. So you have to take all these pipes off, get all this out the way, get down there. Then when you do open them up, they leak oil all over down the down onto the base. We'll just quickly run through the lights on this car, just part of the standard checks. So obviously brake lights, yeah, hazards, fog light. Sometimes it takes time to find it. There we go. Check the number plate lights, reverse light, yeah, that's on. Number plate lights both on. I think I've mentioned on one of my videos for MOT now, if you've got two bulbs for your number plate lights, you only actually need one to work, though it is probably advisable to have them all working. Rear wiper, not part of the MOT, but still worth checking. Like this one, there's no blade on it, so I'll get one of those ordered, because all it's going to do on a tinted window is scratch the glass and ruin the look of the car. So get one of them ordered. Back wiper, knackered. And front wiper, there we go, there's another one. Wiper blade hanging off, that would aggravate me, something rotten. So, right, front lights, dip beam, yeah, main beam, fog lights are on, indicator, the one in the mirror, this one, yeah, that's all on. And then onto the running lights off. There, see, so when you put your side lights on, side lights, see how they just dull down? Then back to your running lights when the lights are off. So these daylight running lights act as your side lights as well. Right, so now onto this car. A few things I want to run through, like I was mentioning. They're an absolute pain, these things, because you've got to do the you've got to get the oil filter right down there. It leaks oil all down the engine. They're just a total pain. So that's that. It's in for rear brake pads as well, and you would think that's just a normal job that we do every day, but no. It's got electronic brake calipers, so you've got to use a computer now to change brakes. So we'll, as I said, the fog's one. So obviously it sounds like an aircraft's going down. So these are the complications you have now with these cars. So first of all, just to find the OBD plug, which you need the computer, wherever I've put it, I've left it lying around somewhere. So like I say, all that beeping in here. So like now you've got to, it took us ages to find that behind a stupid little cover, which you've got to rip off every time you need to get to the diagnostic port. So nowadays, you need to use a computer system just to change a set of brake pads. Absolute madness. While I'm in here, I'll just show you this car is actually in for service, and it is coming up on the dashboard as needing serviced. So all you do with these Citroens is you turn the ignition off, and there's a little, you would think it would be so technical, you know, with computers, but they're actually not. All you do is you just hold in this button down here and switch the ignition on. And that's it, you hold it in. See that going 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Done. That's the service light done. Easy as that. Again, I just want to point out with these cars how much I can't stand this system, which appears not to even be working. So I think it's in some kind of an economy mode there. So even just to get your ventilation, when you're driving along in this car, there is no buttons. So you're doing 60, 70 mile an hour, and you're even just sitting like this with the engine off, and you cannot change your heating or nothing. The only way you can get it to go is to actually physically start it up, which, you know, you don't always want to have to do. What's it saying now? I've put the automatic gearbox in. Oh, this is your gear stick, by the way. And now, what's it saying now? Place it into park, which we have. And then you get your screen up. So you're driving along 70 mile an hour. You've got the muck on, taking your eyes off the road and pressing this. Then you're into this. Then you've got to, you know, where's my aircon here, temperature, where it's blown. Then you've got want to get back to your car information. It just gets very, very unnecessarily confusing for no reason at all. So yeah, that's that. Anyways, so there was reset the service light. We're going to do the brakes. I need to go into the diagnostic system. I would record that, but it's pretty boring. So there we go. That's more or less what I've got on, but I just want to discuss one thing. I would like to know your opinions of this. These things, which all of you will probably have in your cars, or a lot of you, dash cams. Obviously most cars I get coming in, they're switched on. I've unplugged this one, but just tell me what your thoughts are. I don't want, most of my customers are genuine. I'll just put it to me, most of my customers are genuine, nice people, and I've got no problems whatsoever with them. If I ran a garage where I had a lot of new customers coming in, I don't want them recording the full layout of my garage. They bring that car in and they can review that footage. They can see where you keep your tools, where maybe you're going back and forth with money, where your points of entry and exit, and basically the full layout of your building. I don't want that on film. Second of all, I know I walk around here with the camera on, but as you see, we've got nothing really that valuable lying about, and what is locked and insured anyway. But second of all, when they're running constantly as well, I don't really want people listening to my private conversations I have with my dad, about my kids, about my life, as you do, you know, when you're working, you're having a conversation, and naturally I always keep the windows open on cars, unless I fear there's a fault with the window, in case they lock the keys inside. So, you know, A, I don't want to be recorded while I'm working. B, I don't want to be recording the layout and everything around my garage. And C, I don't want me conversations recorded as well. As well as, obviously, when you go out on a test drive, I've got no problems whatsoever plugging it in. I drive customers' cars in the same way I drive my own, which is like a granddad. I never speed, and I certainly don't disrespect other people's cars. But I do tend to plug them in if I go on a test drive, so just in case I have an accident, and it generally isn't my fault, it's there as proof that it wasn't my fault. But yeah, again, for MOTs as well, it's actually illegal to record an MOT. So when they're coming in running on MOTs, it's not very nice either, because you have to unplug them. You can get a few people get a bit arsey with you if you unplug them, because you'll get the old, oh, it was working until you touched it, that old chestnut. But nah, let us know your opinion. What would you feel if you take your car with a dash cam running and it's unplugged? Personally, with me, I took my L200 into Mitsubishi. That's like the only thing I can refer to, because I don't take my cars to garages. But when I took my L200 into Mitsubishi for warranty work, I always disconnected my dash cam every single time, because I just feel it's disrespectful, invading on people's privacy. You know, just when you're working, you don't want a camera shoved in your face. I've heard what some people do, put like a piece of cardboard in front of them or something, or some of them are like hardwired in. That is the odd few which I've had hardwired in, and I just personally asked the customer if you wouldn't mind just switching it off or removing the memory card, please. You know, if it's just, sometimes we have cars in for like nearly 2 days, and you can imagine, I know people probably realistically aren't that sad to sit and watch through every single video and listen to all the audio, but yeah, please let us know in the description what your opinion is about me as a mechanic having dash cams in, or you as a member of the public taking your car into a garage with it on. Because you've got to remember, you'll just say, well, I want to make sure they're doing the job right, blah blah blah, but what work do you do? Say, for example, are you a plumber? Would you like somebody standing over the top of you while you're fixing a boiler or fitting radiators or fitting a shower with a camera shoved in your face, listening to everything you're saying all day, watching everything you do. I know that if you're working in commercial premises, yeah, everything is, but that's that. But yeah, let us know your opinions. So that's that for today. That's everything in. I'll quickly go on this little Toyota and we'll leave the video at that. I'm just going to knock this one off. Just quickly go around this and I'll just show you there's not much on this one. Routine service. Little 1400 diesel D4D. Cracking little engines these if you look after them. Very rarely have any problems. The oil filters can be a bit of a faff on them. Air filter generally nice and easy. But these are a good car. My mum and dad used to have one of these as a hybrid. The estate version. Nice, really nice cars. I think they're called the Corolla now. They've stopped calling them the Aris. So there we go. As you see, all the parts as usual. That's the proper Toyota part you need to use to remove the oil filters. MAN oil filter, Bosch air filter. And they're the parts for the Citroen, MAN and Padgett. So there you go. Remember, I won't be doing a vlog tomorrow because we've got MOT exam course thing to do. But what I might do is do a video on that separately and just show a few of the practice questions and stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching. As always, please, if you like it, hit the like button. Please leave a comment like I've just discussed in there. And if you're not already, please hit the subscribe button. And I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.